Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? I am Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. So yeah, very simply here, Bitcoin is trying to hold this support level down here, roughly 39 to, well, just under 39,000. We'll call it 39,000. It's trying to hold this $39,000 level. We obviously have a relative psychological level of 40,000, but I don't think it's that important. And then we have this resistance to the upside of 42,000 that we pretty much need to get back above. So that is all we are really doing here. Any closes below just under 39,000, and then we are quite likely to see a leg down to, well, we could see it all the way as far as 36,000. Or what I personally believe is more likely is, because we've had quite an aggressive pullback, is that we can get up to this 42,000, break back into this area, and if we are going to travel lower, ultimately possibly get rejected around this $44,000 and turn back down. But if we get above 44,000, then clearly things will be looking a lot better for the move to the top side of this range and then onwards and upwards. So that is kind of the 10,000 foot picture of what we are looking at here. Obviously you could look at this as a bear flag and another leg down. It is just a case of how much further in practically a straight line down can Bitcoin go. We are obviously being somewhat driven by this market here. This move down kind of did ultimately drag us down, and yeah, I mean, this is bouncing around this this sideways zone here, and what it needs to do is get back above 4,500, and then yeah, markets that would actually look pretty good here for a inverted head and shoulders, and then we could see a nice move back upwards towards 4800, which would be extremely bullish for all the markets. The flip side clearly is if we get below here, then yeah, we're open up 4,300, we're open up 41,500, and yes, Goblin Town, I think, is the expression that is getting used amongst crypto, although this is actually not crypto, this is the S&P. Gold is reflecting a bit of obviously uncertainty and catching a bid here. So yeah, that is not looking bad. It was kind of looking like it wanted to break out the top of this range. So yeah, that is what it is doing. Oil here moved back up to 100, back to the underside of this trend line. But is it going to get rejected here and come back down, or are we going to have another leg up in this asset? I think, well, you guys know my opinion is that this has been pretty much overcooked and a pretty one-sided trade with regards to the sentiment, and I think realistically that means it does have downside potential. Obviously we've got the lockdowns in China, which could potentially massively impact demand. So whilst we have supply problems, there's obviously going to be reduction of demand because of that, and then obviously slowing growth, reduction of demand, and yeah, I mean, the cure for high prices is high prices, isn't it, after all? Ruble got a holding this 12 handle, practically a full retrace and then a pullback. But yeah, just kind of an indication of it. I mean, I read this practically as an indication of that that commodity supply is still coming to the market, and then if it isn't, then this will struggle. If it is, then this will go back up, which is then obviously not bullish for commodities, for oil and gas, which is obviously then not bullish for inflation, which is then generally good for markets. So that is how I view that. Hey, we've got this new one here to look at. The mortgage, basically the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate in America, just to kind of look at how basically it is making a pretty aggressive move to the upside. This is obviously quite a big increase in people's fixed costs that are on mortgages. Obviously, a lot of people are not in adjustable rates, but they are obviously locked in for a certain amount of time. But when they come to remortgage, i.e. if they sell a house, then they'll have to factor in higher prices, which is part of the problem with the housing market, is that obviously there is that friction to moving home now, because you don't want to update your mortgage terms, because obviously you might be on a lower obviously percentage rate. So yeah, that is an interesting one, and you can kind of see this downward trend we are looking to try and break above. So interesting chart there. The DXY are back up there, still over 100, holding strong. I mean, this has been pretty aggressive, but you can kind of see the sideways range. We're on a daily here, kind of see the sideways range. Does it have much more before we do have a pullback? It is in a large basically sideways range. However, if it was to break out of it, then yeah, that's basically the end of the financial system. The global economy wouldn't be able to handle a break up to the upside, but it certainly could benefit from a nice break to the downside. So at some point, this is gonna struggle to keep going up. Similarly with this 10-year, this is what is known as not sustainable price action. This is what is known as a potential blow off top, and a J hook, a hockey stick, whatever you want to call it. And clearly this will have to have a pretty aggressive pullback at some point, but that's not to say it can't go further up, but it is going to have a pullback. But this is looking like the culmination of this move. But like I've also said, this turning around is not necessarily going to be good, because it will probably come with a well, maybe severe more deterioration in the stock market, unless we're just going to see lockdowns in China and then peace in Europe to whack commodity prices to bring down inflation. But yeah, just inflation problems. Ethereum Satoshi pairing actually looking very good here in the face of what has been going on with this downward action. It's still up there practically at its recent highs, so that is bullish. If this risk off in crypto generally, Bitcoin as a whole, is not hitting Ethereum harder, that is obviously bullish, because that's not what normally happens. Ethereum gets hit harder. So yeah, if we do have some sideways or some up or some further risk on, we could actually expect a pretty sharp acceleration through this resistance area up to any of the next levels that we've got. Potentially this one will be a reasonable target pretty quickly to be hit. If we do get some sideways to up in Bitcoin, some risk on, and then yeah, this starts to move up. Bitcoin dominance also reflecting that at its recent lows, reflecting the same thing. So all is not potentially lost here. If this bond market does at least just stall out here, the dollar just stall out here, stock markets then start to make progress back up to at least a decent range up here, then yeah, we could see basically what we are looking for, which is that nice sweet spot where we run into bullish markets towards the end of Q2, minus obviously this little blip that we've had. But if you look at how aggressive this move up in stocks, this pull down, this basically retrace, providing it doesn't go much lower, is perfectly reasonable. And then yeah, onwards and upwards, and in an inverted head and shoulders fashion to what practically could very easily be new all-time highs. Let's even just put in a little potential target, a very rough target here of where it could take us to. And yeah, there you go, new all-time highs. Let's just 5,000, practically 5,000 on the S&P is a target. This is what we are gunning for into the end of Q2, and this would be a fantastic region then to take profit on whilst we see what happens with obviously the rest of the year, and then obviously the energy crisis going into obviously at least the northern hemisphere's winter anyway. So interesting times for sure. We also taking a leg up here along with oil as well. There we go. Let's see what happens. Let's quick look at those stochastics. 4 hour quite weak here, at a low level though, but not getting any real upward momentum. 10 hour similarly pointing up, but still pretty hanging around at these lows. 12 hour looking to turn up from a low level. Daily still looking to try and turn up from that low level. 2 day still diving. 3 day freshly moving down. 5 day freshly turned down at the moment, but weekly looking good, and bi-weekly not looking too bad. But yeah, like I said, we need to see this be the pivot. This needs to be where we hold the line. get back above 42,000, and then yeah, we could then see a nice move up towards the 44s and then 47s, and then just reassess there based on what is going on with what would be going on with this. Going to load what would be going on with the obviously the traditional markets, and hopefully they can get back above 4,500 in S&P, and then yeah, trade this area a bit. So yeah, there we go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.